All right, welcome back everyone. This is Noah, and in this video, we're going to do the proof of the quadratic formula. So, given a quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we want to prove that the solutions to this equation can be given by the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so let's just get right into this. We have the equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and we're going to use our completing the square method of solving for x in order to solve for x and see what we get, and it should be the quadratic formula. We're going to start this off by subtracting c from both sides so that we get ax squared plus bx equals negative c. The next thing we want to do is factor the a off of that left side. So I've got a times parentheses x squared plus, now to factor an a out here, well, we don't know what b is, we don't know what a is, so we just divide b by a. b over a times x, close our parentheses, and then this will equal negative c. And just to kind of double check, if we multiply that a back in, the a's would cancel, and we'd get ax squared plus bx, just like we started with. We'll then go ahead and divide the a off of this left side. So that will give us x squared plus b over ax equals negative c over a. And now we want to go ahead and complete the square on the left side. So we'll give ourselves a little room. And I open up parentheses. I want to put an x plus, and we want half of the b over a. So b over a times 1/2 is simply b over 2a. So I'll put a plus b over 2a in here, and we square that. And when I square that out, if we FOIL this, it's going to give us an extra term of, I'm going to put this over here, b over 2a. We want to square this whole thing. This is b squared over 4a squared when I square everything there. So we're adding a b squared over 4a squared. When we complete that square, we need to do the same thing to the right side, plus b squared over 4a squared. So when we complete the square, we get x plus b over 2a, quantity squared, equals b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. All right, so I'm thinking that I want to go ahead and get a common denominator and add that right side up before I take the square root of both sides. So we could take the square root of both sides, but in order to get it in the form of the quadratic formula that we're used to, then we want to go ahead and add up that right side. We've got b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. So if I multiply the c over a, top and bottom, by 4a, we will get our common denominator. This will then equal b squared over 4a squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. So we can then combine these fractions to be b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. So going back to our equation, I'll plug that in. So I've got x plus 2b over 2a, quantity squared, equals, on the right side now we're replacing the b squared over 4a squared minus c over a with b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. And now we'll go ahead and take the square root of both sides. Making sure to use a plus or minus when we do so. So on the left, I'll now have x plus b over 2a equals, on the right, we'll have a plus or minus. The top is going to be the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That's good. That's like what we're looking for, right? The bottom, we can take that square root. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of a squared is a. So we have plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a on the right. So we're almost there. We just need to subtract the b over 2a from both sides. So minus b over 2a, both sides here. And we end up getting x equals negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we can combine the fractions here. So x equals, we have the common denominator, a negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That's all over 2a. And we're done. That's it. That's what we were going for. That is the quadratic formula. So we can see that by completing the square of that general form, ax squared plus bx plus c, we do in fact solve for x and end up with the quadratic formula. So that's pretty cool. That's where that comes from. That's how we know that formula. It's not just a magical thing pulled out of thin air that somehow works. It's been rationalized through, that we've actually worked through that and come up with that formula in a meaningful way. So I hope you appreciate that. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.